And the reason this is so important is because the answer to how will I know that will make me happy is all right. And then I have a question that I received by email to answer. This question comes from Specific, and for those who haven't seen them yet, you can check previous recordings of these sessions for when I've answered previous questions from Specific on the same topic if you need some background on it. So Specific says, "Hi Odille, thank you for answering my question. I would like for you to expand more or give me some more tips on how to make the touchstone feeling stronger. As I envision how I want my life to be, doubt creeps in, or questions as to how will it happen, or if that truly would make me happy, those creep in. Then getting that strong feeling is tricky. Further, let's say the phrase is, I love my life. What scenarios or creative ways can I include in my childhood with that same feeling? Also, I am really struggling with my present circumstances and want to find new ways to make income and resign from my job. I am trying to spot opportunities, or do you think I should focus on childhood memories, then the opportunities will automatically come?" So thank you, Specific, again for the questions. I'll answer your last question first. So trying to spot opportunities while you have the old unconscious programming will keep you repeating what you've always experienced. So remember that our implicit childhood memories are the brain's GPS or sat-nav. That means that whatever opportunities you notice or don't notice, your brain filters out, along with your decisions and everything, the actions you take or the actions you don't take, all of that will be determined by your current childhood memories. So just like if your GPS was set for where you've always been, when you try to drive to a new destination, it'll keep turning you around and taking you back to where you were until you change it to match your new destination. So in the same way, you need to change your childhood memories first and establish them by repetition to match the results you want. And then, and this is what's so powerful and encouraging, then your brain will automatically be trying to keep you in alignment with that new self-image and worldview. You won't even need to try because it'll be as automatic as your current experiences are. So it'll be striving to keep you in alignment with the new self-image and worldview, and therefore, of course, the opportunities you do notice, the solutions you come up with, your decisions, your actions, all of that will automatically be different and leading you to the results you want. So now to your first question, how to make your touchstone feel stronger. So there are 3 pieces to this. The first piece is answering those thoughts and those doubts. And I can't stress enough how important that is for everyone. As soon as you notice the thought of, but how will it happen? For example, answer it. Answer it with, I don't know, but I also don't know how the internet works, but that doesn't mean I can't use it, right? There was also a point when I didn't know how I would get from one place to another, but then I got on public transport and I ended up there. Or I got in the car, set the GPS, and I ended up there. So just because I don't know how to get from where I am now to where I want to be, it doesn't mean there isn't a way. We can't see around corners. So just because I can't see something doesn't mean it's not there. So be sure you are answering. So keep answering with that logic, because the doubts are not based on logic. Doubts are based on unconscious programming from childhood. And then your conscious mind is putting logic to it. Well, it's because I can't see how, there isn't a way. And then your conscious mind will look for reasons that prove those doubts. So that's why it's so important to answer them using logic. All right. So it's crucial to use your conscious mind to answer logically, to keep yourself on track toward what you want. Otherwise, it's like driving a little way along the road from Chicago to LA or from Joburg to Durban, not seeing Durban or LA yet. So you get out of the car and you hang around on the side of the road, doubting you can even get there because you can't see the route from where you are. As for how do I know this will make me happy? The answer to that is it won't. Nothing will make you happy because nothing can make you happy. Happiness is completely an inside job, and I do mean that literally. It's absolutely impossible for anything or anyone outside of you to make you happy because it's chemicals inside your own body that create the feeling of happiness. So only you can create those chemicals. And that happens through the connections between neurons or thoughts. It happens automatically in response to things outside of you, or rather your perception of things outside of you, but it's still your own neurons connecting and you're producing chemicals inside your own body. And no matter what's happening outside of you, you can change those neural connections and produce chemicals that make you feel happy independently of what's going on outside of you as soon as you take yourself off automatic. And the reason this is so important is because the answer to how will I know that will make me happy is I don't need to worry about whether that will make me happy or not because I create happiness for myself. So it means that regardless of what I do, what decisions I make, where I end up, who I'm with, I can create the happiness inside myself. So if I'm creating happiness inside me, rather than relying on anything outside of me, including a job or circumstances, other people, whatever it is, it means that when I get this thing that I want, I know I'll be happy. There's no doubt. There's no question about it because I'm creating the happiness inside me. It takes the uncertainty and the worry out of the equation. It's like saying, how will I know there'll be something that I like to drink at this party that I'm going to? You take your own, right? If you bring your own beverages that you like, well, then you know that as long as you're bringing something you like, there will be something you like to drink, regardless of whether the hosts actually have it available or not. You take your own. And so in the same way, as long as you are bringing your own happiness, you know you'll be happy, regardless of the outside circumstances and people. So that's why that's so empowering. And it can be difficult to get your head around that because we're so used to, and we're conditioned that way from childhood, everything that we need comes from outside of us. And everything that happens to us is coming from outside of us because that's how we are when we're born and when we're children. We're completely reliant on the adults around us to feed us, to keep us alive, to protect us, to give us what we need or want. And everything that happens to us is coming from someone outside of us. But as we grow into adulthood, that's no longer the case. I'm not relying on someone else to feed me anymore and to protect me. I have the capability to do what needs to be done to feed myself and to protect myself, and so do you. But because we have that unconscious conditioning, it affects our perception of the world. So we automatically are looking outside ourselves still, the way we were when we were babies and children. It's got to be that's got to help me, that's going to help me. But taking a step back from that, realizing that shift in perception and choosing to adopt that shift in perception, then you start realizing, oh yeah, I can do it all inside myself. And then the magic is that when you do it inside yourself, the outside starts to mirror what's inside you. It's not the other way around. So that's the first piece, answering those doubts and the other thoughts using logic rather than buying into the emotions that you're feeling. The second piece is remind yourself that this is all about the difference between the unconscious part of the brain and your conscious mind. There is a big difference. We are not the unconscious part of the brain, but we tend to feel like we are because it's just us in here. So it all feels like the same thing. But when you watch a movie, if you sit through the movie saying, but this isn't real, this doesn't make sense, it's not realistic, I know this isn't real, you can't enjoy the movie. In order to enjoy the movie, you have to suspend disbelief. And we do that all the time when we're reading a book, watching a movie, watching a TV show, listening to a podcast. We are constantly suspending disbelief so that we can fully experience all the emotions and the experiences of it. The unconscious part of the brain won't question it. It's only the conscious mind that uses logic and reason and that sees things as unrealistic. So when you're practicing your touchstone, it's not so much about finding ways to make the feeling stronger, although I'll give you some suggestions in a minute on that. It's about allowing yourself to feel those feelings without interrupting with logic. It's about allowing yourself to believe in that moment and feel the feelings and enjoy the feeling. You know it's not real, and that's okay, but you also know movie's not real. You don't have to keep saying it, right? You can allow yourself to enjoy it. So it's about allowing yourself to suspend disbelief just as you would if you were watching a movie or reading a book. And some people may think that that's being delusional. Here's the reality of it. This is not about the conscious mind believing things that aren't real or being delusional. This is about changing brain and body chemistry and rewiring the neural connections for the unconscious part of the brain. So your conscious mind already knows that this is imagination for the moment. But if it keeps interfering with, but that isn't real, that's like, again, getting out of the car every few yards, pointing out that you're not at your destination yet. You have to, in the first instance, have your destination in your mind. That's where you're going. And the fact that you're not there yet is no indication of whether you will get there or not. As long as you keep your desired destination in your mind, that's your touchstone, allowing yourself to feel the feelings of it. That's heading toward your destination, making sure that you're facing the right direction. And you make sure that your GPS is set for that new destination. And that's, of course, your new implicit childhood memories. And then you stay on the road. So in other words, you don't keep stopping and getting out of the car and going, but we're not there yet and I can't see it yet, right? So that's you answering those doubts rather than stopping all along the road. You will get there, just like you will get there in the scenario with the car driving somewhere. So the third piece is making more neural connections to amp up those feelings. And the way to do that is twofold. Firstly, homing in on the details that feel good. And secondly, and most importantly, allowing yourself to pretend that those are real so that you can amp up chemicals. It's the neural connections in the neocortex of your brain as you allow yourself to pretend it's real that produce more of the feel-good chemicals, and that will amp up those feelings, making those feelings stronger. And finally, if you do all of this and you still can't allow yourself to feel strong, good feelings, you still find that you can't allow yourself to feel them, and the doubts are still strong, then do the detective work to find out what references are stopping you from doing it. Because remember, this is all just neurons connecting in your own brain. There's nothing outside of you that can stop you from doing it. So if you find you can't do it, that means that there are references that need to be changed. So in that case, ask yourself, number one, how do I know? How do I know this doubt, whatever the doubt is? How do I know I'll never have that, or I can't do that, or there isn't a way? Then number two, how does that feel? And home in on the feeling of that. And then number three, where in my childhood did I feel that same feeling? Remember, it may be a completely different topic, but it'll be the same feeling. And you're only looking for the feeling. So don't filter anything out. Take the first thing that pops into your mind from childhood. Then, of course, change those memories to the opposite, positive and empowering, and practice the new ones. And then try the touchstone again and see if you're able to now allow yourself to feel the strong, good feelings. And if not, then repeat those steps until you are able to do it. And as for creating I love my life memories in your childhood, ask yourself what that little you really needs in order to love her life. So what would have been the ideal if she could wave a magic wand and have and be and do anything with no limits? What would that be like? So I'll give you an example. For the little me, It would have been living in a beautiful big house with both my parents, and my parents are happy and fun and relaxed. And we go on holiday to Disney World, and there's no school, and we have a swimming pool, and I can do whatever I like every day. And my parents are there to play with me, and we all play board games, and I have a lion cub as a pet, and I have horses I can ride, and so on. So that gives you an example of mine. Keep reminding yourself the unconscious part of your brain doesn't use logic or reason and won't question it. So I hope that helps, Besitle, but let me know if you need more clarification on anything. And thank you again for the questions.